Hello, everyone, and welcome to Problem Solve Her, an innovative, informative, fun, cool, exciting podcast for women, men, people of all ages to give you empowerment, inner strength, confidence, independence. And I'm your host, Chloe, along with my girl, whoop, whoop, Dagmar's in the house. Hello, everybody. Welcome today. How you doing today, Dagmar? I know you're doing better than me.
Listened to a podcast last week, and it helped me to get up every day and to focus on this is my happy day, and I do that every day. So
Well, God
this is my happy
bless.
day.
I try to have a happy day every day too, but right now, us recording will get me. Well, it's not grammatically correct. I will be happier once we finish this because every time we record, especially the two of us, although I love interviewing people and so do you, our connection, sometimes the dialogue really helps me have a better rest of the day and into the evening, and then I sleep better then. I think it's important in the beginning to remind people where to find us. So, gals, gentlemen, everybody, you can find us on ProblemSolvHer.com. No E on solve, it's play on words. ProblemSolvHer.com. You can find us on YouTube, and we are on Instagram at ProblemSolveHer, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Whoop, whoop. That's my plug.
Yeah, I think the
Yes.
best way to connect is Instagram with you, right? Just a
DM me.
private message. Somebody has a question. If somebody wants to come on the show as a guest,
Please DM me. Listen, Brad Pitt, David Beckham, if you guys want to come on, shoot me a DM on IG. We're available. We'll change the schedule for you guys. And Meryl Streep and Jane Fonda. That's incredible women out there who are independent. Gwyneth Paltrow. You can talk about Goop. So Dagmar, what are we doing today?
Great topic is talking about, because that's a lot of what women are, people pleasers, and how somebody who is a people pleaser can get to becoming the self leader. And I think it's good to start with what is a people pleaser, but the goal of really this podcast is to identify how can the shift be created from a people pleaser to a self leader. So let's start with what is a people pleaser from your experience.
There's a song. It's for the younger generation. It's a few years back. Oh, do you know the girl? She's a real crowd pleaser. And the essence of it is that anything you want her to be, she'll be. I think that we kind of touched on this a few days ago and yesterday in our interview with Kat. People want to fit in, right? They want to be part of the cool crowd. And it all goes back to high school. Everything starts there. Were you cool? Were you in the in crowd? Did you play sports? You know, those types of things. So it's in the beginning, if you want to please, so to speak, and kind of you're doing it because you're kind of feeling the waters and, you're finding out people's personalities and, something that may offend me won't offend you or vice versa. Or, you have to kind of learn people's sense of humor and how serious they are. And then you kind of fall into it where you don't feel necessarily you have to please everybody, right? So an example is anytime someone says anything, I agree. Oh my God, that's so funny. That's amazing. That's the best story I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God, you look fabulous every time you see someone. It's like, okay, relax a little bit, right? It's not authentic and genuine. A lot of times people probably see through that. But in the beginning, if you're doing it for a job or relationship to enhance something, it might work in the short term, so to speak. That's what I see it as. What do you see a people pleaser as?
So how you explain people pleaser is more from a strategic perspective to get your feet wet, get used to the waters and everything. From my life experience is something totally different. And that fits to the next question I have. And I let you answer it first, and then I will share my people pleaser story. What do you think, from your experience, is the root cause of being a people pleaser? Why would people consciously want to please others and not from a genuine an
Right.
empathetic perspective,
Well,
but they
that's part
can
of what
just
I was
lead to.
saying in the last portion of the question. For me, a people pleaser is not genuine. I think that it's, and I don't think that some people realize it. And they're not trying to do it in a negative way, but they're doing it so that they don't maybe get a negative reaction, or they might, get a dirty look from somebody, or someone might say, no, I don't like the way that person responded to them, and it's only the first time you're meeting them, and they're judging you just on that. So they'd rather people please. I truly feel that people do it, right? This is your question. Why are they right? So I think that people do it again in the beginning, right? If it's something that's constant, and there's someone and it's 3 years later, and you say, okay, you don't have to tell me I look amazing every time you see me, especially if I just came from the gym and my hair is crazy and I'm sweaty and I look like I came out of a basement, right? If you're still telling me that, then I have to question your authenticity, right? So I think
I thought you say to me, I love you. That's the reason why I say
I
it.
only tell people I love them if I really mean it. Now, I do call a lot of people sweetie and honey if I don't know their name, or if I'm in a restaurant, people say, "Why do you say that?" I go, "I genuinely, that's just how I talk to people. Hey, sweetie. Hey, honey. How you doing?" I mean, I'm not here to please anyone but myself. Okay, let's start with that, and my son Oliver. But people do it because they want to get further, maybe in a career. They might go along with a coworker on a project that they don't necessarily agree with, but they're pleasing them. Oh, that sounds great. Let's do it like that. Absolutely. Should I write the report up? Okay, great. And in the back of their mind, they're going, this is horrible, but I want to please my coworker because they've been here for 3 years and I've only been here for 6 months. But is that sustainable in the long run? And not only that, it's exhausting. You're constantly having to be on. So I think that people do it because they want to, gain friendships, gain relationships, get further in their job and relationships, family, and avoid conflict. I think that's a big part of it.
I think that's perfect what you just said. So one group is for sure that does it consciously. And I think it's great that you pointed out, if you do it not just one time or twice, if you do it ongoing, then you bring yourself into the whole, right? Because there will be the day where you are asked to do something where you really don't want to do it. And then you would have to show your true face or your true lights and say, I don't want to do it. And then everything will crash because you gave the impression, oh no, this is not who you are. This is the person who you are. And now suddenly they think it came out of nowhere, where in reality it was always there. You just allowed it to happen. So I think you are the best coach for helping women to stop being a people pleaser and becoming a self-leader. And here's why. So one group is the one who does it consciously, right? The other group is women like me who did it their whole life because you were raised as you're the nice little girl. You please your parents, you please your neighbors. Wherever you can help, you jump to help somebody. You will be the first one who opened the door for anybody. You will be the first one. If something falls down, you will pick it up. You will be the first one before somebody can ask you to do something. You already, with the year-long training, you already see what has to be done. So you just do it, right? And it's not a conscious choice. It became you because your childhood or your environment raised you becoming a people pleaser. And they're then used to you and they expect that you're a people pleaser, that you never say no. If you live in a little village, right? Neighbors ask you, oh, could you get me that? Are you going to the supermarket? Can you get me that? Can you just help me holding the letter? Can you just come over? I cannot do this on my own. So beautiful it is to help, always be able to help others. As a people pleaser, you did not learn to set boundaries and you did not learn to say no. And the same as when somebody does it consciously in the environment, if it's with your family or your husband or your husband's family or your friends or at work, after a long time, just a second, after a long time, you're so burned out. And then you get the feeling, you get angry and you get bitter.
There's nothing worse than a bitter woman. Nothing.
So from my life experience, it's very hard when you're raised like a people pleaser, you were a people pleaser your whole life, and you don't want to be a people pleaser anymore. You want to be your true self. You want to have self-care, not just care for others. What's your thought on that?
Well, thank you for sharing that story, first of all. Second of all, you're one of the strongest people I know. So it's almost a contradiction of what you just said. But I'm glad you brought that up, because there are two sides of being a people pleaser. There's ones that are consciously aware of it and they have a motive, and there's ones that it's embedded in their brain because that's how they grew up. If someone grew up in a family that was very aggressive and the only form of communication they had was screaming, everyone, and that's all they knew as a child, they're going to grow up and scream at everybody and think that's the way to communicate. So if you grew up and you had to be the good little child and you had to be the good daughter to your parent and you had to make them proud and please them, then obviously into adulthood, that's what you want to do and think is the right thing. And I think that in that case, in that scenario, you're not doing anything wrong. You're not hurting anyone. You're constantly just saying yes to people. But what happens is at some point, like you said, self-care. You have to take a step back and say, wait, I'm doing all these things for other people. And I've had relationships with people like this over my life. They first asked me for one favor, then they asked me for two, then they asked me for three, then they asked me for four. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, the chutzpah. See, chutzpah can be a positive and a negative, by the way. Chutzpah in a positive way is someone who has the great energy and will go for it and won't take no for an answer, won't stop until the deal is done. But chutzpah in a bad way can be also taking advantage, or as we say, a chaza. So that's another Yiddish word. So if someone is doing that constantly to you, but you're allowing it and you're not setting the boundaries and you're saying, but wait, this is how I grew up. You're always supposed to help people. But we have to help ourselves first. That doesn't mean you're selfish. It doesn't mean you're self-centered. It means that you have to take care of you, because our number one priority as humans, first and foremost, before anything else, should be our health. Number one. After that, then you have an order. Everyone has their top 3 or 4 priorities in their life. It's just a fact. My number one priority is that I'm healthy, because then if I'm healthy, all the other priorities in my life can be taken care of. So if I'm healthy and I'm taking care of myself and I'm doing good by me, mentally, physically, emotionally, then I can be the best mother to my puppy. Then I can give my parents and my brother whatever they need, because I'm extremely helpful to them and I'm always there for them. So those are my priorities: me, Oliver, my parents, and my brother. Then of course the people that I'm closest to in my life. But that's it. That's my top right there. Forget work and business and all these other things. Because when you put business first, then there's a huge, I want to say, divide in this subject, where some people say business is their number one priority over their health, over their family. Making money, business is number one. I totally disagree with that 100%. Of course, it's important. We all need to live. We all need to survive. We all have to feed ourselves. But your health is number one. And then you can please other people to an extent. I still do it today. I offered a friend of mine last night to pick her up at the airport, although I wasn't feeling 100% from my trip and I was tired and other things. And I said, but she's a really good friend. And I said, if you want me to pick you up, I will. And then she said, no, I'm just going to end up taking Uber, which was fine. But if you're offering something, it's because you want to do it. If someone's constantly asking you, then it becomes too much. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So for the people pleasers under our solvers listeners, Chloe, what she did for me, then she just does it because that's who she is. When we have conversations, or when we are working together, or before we work together at a job, she always said to me, you can tell me honest if you want to do it or not. You can tell me honest what you think about that or not. And this broke this glass of the ceiling that, yeah, I want to have Chloe as my friend. Yeah, I want to work with Chloe. That I didn't have it for any price. That means I had to put myself back, what I'm feeling. If I sometimes felt I was not okay what she said, or sometimes felt we should do it another way. So by you allowing me and giving me the freedom to be myself and feel loved by you. And I remember we really had only one thing, what was hard for us both. And we struggled with that. And you did the amazing thing. You said, no matter what, we will figure it out. And that took the heaviness of me to be perfect, to have the pressure to please you as my friend with the fear that I could lose you. And also to be my true self and to do what I believe in. And it's just, this is a gift, what you have, what you just have it naturally. And that's what I'm seeing when you do coaching, what you do for others, because you're gifted in a way that, like, your parents raised you in a beautiful way, and how you dealt with life compared to how long it took me to get to this point where I am today. It took me forever and ever and ever. And I went through so many, it's not failures, but it is failures in friendships, relationships, and business as a people pleaser, because you always put yourself back. And time flies by. And then 10 years later, you're still pleasing people, like in your personal or in your business life. And you feel like, oh my God, what's with my purpose? What is about what I want to accomplish in life? And that really helped me, what you did for me since the last 3 years, I think 3 or 4 years along we are knowing each other now, that next to doing what I love, that I felt really seen and heard by you. And I'm
I'm going to
grateful for
cry.
that.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. And I'm glad. And you know what? I love that we're so authentic on here and we're so open, and that you're even discussing this topic. You're right. It's the only thing we've had in our friendship so far. And sometimes, because I am so strong, like a lot of people, I'm going to blame my Jewish Spanish blood on this one, my Romanian Spanish blood, that I sometimes react to something instead of taking a step back. But then afterwards, I always think it through very clearly and precisely. And that's why I came back and said, doesn't matter, we're going to figure it out. And we did. So I will always circle back. Some people are opposite. Some people, they sit there, they say, okay, whatever. And they go, sure, sure. And then all of a sudden they blow up and you're like, whoa, hold on. We already discussed this. Where is it? I do the opposite. I react to it and then I think about it afterwards, and I come from a very practical point of view. But at the end of the day, like you said, I don't want anyone to feel hurt or to feel like I'm coming for them, so to speak, if I love them and I care about them. So I would never want you or anyone to feel like that. Oliver's really getting into this topic here in the back as he's eating my hair. So I thank you for sharing that. And I'm so glad that as two people with very different backgrounds, we have a lot of similarities, and we've come together to share our stories and our experiences with women. And our coaching styles are very different, and we do different things in the coaching. Your ability to dissect. I mean, you are an SEO expert, right? Search engine optimization. You're incredible. You learned how to do the podcast yourself. When you brought this to me and said, I want us to do this together, because I've wanted to do a podcast for a while, I wouldn't even know where to switch the light on to start. Okay. You figured everything out on your own. The only thing I did was, hi, Riverside. Riverside, here's your plug. A really good friend of mine, uses Riverside. She's one of the producers for Rachel Ray's podcast. And you went for it and you figured it out. And I mean, it blows my mind. So you can really help women that are so scared to start a business, especially when technology is involved, AI. The world's changing very quickly and you have to keep up with the times. So in that sense, you're so much better than me. I can help people build and structure and negotiate and, build confidence, and to not become a people pleaser in a negative sense, and to have the right chutzpah But this area of your expertise, the majority of the world don't have. It's a very strategic and analytical piece of the puzzle that a lot of women need. So I think it's amazing that we can come together and offer similar but different things. And men too. Men, if you're out there, I actually, if you don't mind really quickly, because you said something before that made me realize I ran into my neighbor the other day, a man, because you said, and then people show who they are. And I said to him, "Oh, where's the girl I've seen you walking the dog with, for the last 2 months?" And he goes, "No, done." I go, "That was fast." And he said, "She showed me exactly who she was right away. So I knew what to do." And I said, "You know what? I commend her for that, because most women do not show who they are. I will show you exactly who I am in 5 minutes. And if a man says to me, big personality, strong, too independent for me, here's the door. You walk right out of it." So much
So
fun
much
meeting you.
fun.
Kisses.
So much
Thanks for the
fun.
smooch. Thanks for putting your arm around me. You're a good looking guy. You're tall. That's great, but see you later. But if a man loves a challenge and he's like, woo, she is fire and I love this and I love a strong woman and she's showing me exactly who she is when we go out to dinner, and the way she talks to the waiter and she calls everyone honey and she orders what she wants, that's who I want. Show who you are, people. Don't be scared to show your true self.
So the other topic, and we will talk another podcast about it, but it fits here. Normally, a people pleaser wants to be rescued, and you do not want to be rescued. You rescue yourself if you have to. And so the challenge, what I see becoming a self-leader, is not just learning to set boundaries, learning to set no, and being your true self, but also believing that you can rescue yourself, that you can feed yourself, and you don't need somebody else. I don't refer to as a partner, right? Could be the same your boss, could be same your clients, right? If you're a people pleaser, you have a hard time to set boundaries with your clients when they call you on the Sunday at whatever, 8 a.m. in the morning, right? And then you expect when you have an emergency that you explain it to them. They say, yeah, sure, take care of yourself. And then you're shocked when they say, oh no, I need it right now. But you raised them. As a people pleaser, you raise the people to treat you in this way. So it's not just you doing whatever it takes, never saying no, but you also raise the people how they should treat you. So the last question, I think it's an interesting question. Never thought about that. Is a people pleaser a red flag to you?
It's so hard. Let's call it a yellow flag. It's not a green, which is a really good one, and it's not a red, it's a yellow. Only because it can be split, because for the people that know that they're doing it, yes. But for the ones, because it's innately in their brain from childhood and they're products of their environment, no. So I don't know if I would qualify it as a red flag. I would say that for everyone listening right now, if you are a people pleaser, sit with yourself and think, why and what are you trying to achieve by doing it? Because that's a really hard question to ask yourself. And the people that are doing it, the majority, they know. And even the ones like you growing up, and but you have to. This is how I grew up. Help all your neighbors. It doesn't matter you're sick. Get out there and plow the driveway. But my nose is running and I have a migraine. Have to help. Got to do it. That's different. But you can break the cycle. And you can say, okay, I'm only helping 2 people this week do 3 different things. I'm not helping 20 with 50 items. And then you scale it back and you find a way and you find your center again.
So I disagree with you, because you come from a logical perspective. This only works if I do it consciously. If I'm a people pleaser consciously with my friendships and I want to stop it, then I can come to you. You coach me through it. I explain the situations to you, right? So if I'm a people pleaser and I'm raised as a people pleaser,
that's your DNA.
this
I can
becomes
help break
part
the
of
cycle.
who I am.
can help someone break that cycle easily. But they have to put in the work with me.
So what I'm seeing, if you are a happy people pleaser, you don't want to change it, right? Because it makes you happy to help others. That's how you get your value, because you don't feel you have value. So by you helping others and pleasing others, that's how you get your value. And it's like what we said before. If you do it and do it and do it, there is a point where you expect others do that for you too, and they don't, because that's how you raise it. So then you start becoming bitter or angry or upset or disappointed, and nobody loves you, nobody has time for you, and they all do their own thing. They're all selfish. What I can see you helping people pleasers who have that in their DNA is when they're at the point they're not living the life they want to live, and they want to change it because it's above just the people pleaser. If you are a self leader, you make your own conscious decisions before somebody asks you to help them. So if you have something you want to do on a Saturday, if you have something you want to build this new business, you can help. If I'm unhappy with my life, to identify what life do I want to live? What personal life do I want to have? What business life? Do I want to have a job? What type of job do I want? Do I want to have my own business? What business do I want? Do I want to have a local business or remote business? And that's where I can see you helping the people pleasers to become the self leaders. First, identifying where they are, having the awareness why they are doing it, and also what goals. And if they don't know the goals, you can evaluate what they love to do, what they feel their purpose is, what
And
makes
take
them
all their
happy,
experiences,
and what can make
because
them
I
money,
think
right?
that a lot of people, unless you're an attorney or a doctor or an accountant your whole life, I like to know about people's past experiences, because then I can take that and extrapolate and say, okay, well, you told me you did these 5 jobs and I'm noticing the same pattern, and this is what you're good at. Some people don't even know what their top skill sets are. Believe it or not, they don't even know what they are. So if I can help you identify those, that's a major breakthrough right there, because once you do that, then we can say, okay, this can potentially be your next move in business and relationships, personally, professionally, and then you go from there. A self audit.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at the end of this podcast episode. What is the one message you would give from your life experience, and by putting yourself into my shoes as a DNA people pleaser? What's the one message you would share with our solver groups?
Well,
What you
there were
want them
times in
to
my
know?
life I was a people pleaser on both sides. I had a job where I had you're talking about calling on the weekends, a boss that was and I had to break the cycle. But I was so entrenched and I had such a high position in the company that I felt I had to do it. What I would say to people is this: when you wake up in the morning, you have to be happy with who you are. If you are going to the bathroom, I'm sorry, women, once you hit 35, you're going to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I hate to break the news, okay? At least for me, it started at that age. When you're going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, or when you first wake up and it's there, it's just in your head and you can't get rid of it. You have to break the cycle. It's very simple. If you know that it's not working for you and it's not conducive to your lifestyle, you have to make a change. Simple. No, it's easier said than done. Break the cycle. You can do it. And be your true, authentic self and manifest what you want, not what you don't want. I'm going to continue to say that because it's so important.
Yeah. What is it where your
Facts.
thoughts go, your energy flows?
It's like we all want the answers, and we don't realize that sometimes they're sitting right there in front of us. And you need other people like us, other coaches out there. You might read a book and read one sentence and the light bulb goes off. And I think it's really important that it's okay to please to an extent. Of course, we've all done it, right? But for the women that are trying to break that cycle and solve the problem in that right now, be true to yourself and who you are. You know deep down you don't want to do it anymore. It's exhausting. Who wants to please people all day? I'm going to take a nap just listening to it. It's a lot of work. And you have to be true to yourself first and make sure that your self-care is done. And ladies, please give yourselves more grace. We are so hard on ourselves. You're all beautiful inside and out. I don't care what your shape, your size, your nationality, your color, anything. We're all beautiful, all of us.
Do you have a starter coaching where somebody can just get their feet wet and
Absolutely.
see if they enjoy working with you?
Like you, we're humanitarians. We've both worked in nonprofit for a long time. What's a humanitarian? Okay, if you look at the true definition, it's Princess Diana, it's Angelina Jolie, Sharon Stone, these people that are massive humanitarians that are working with NRDC, Amnesty International. Okay, we're on a smaller scale, but we've both worked in nonprofit for a long time, raised a lot of money for good causes, and we want to help women. So if it's a financial thing and we have to work something out in the beginning, obviously we're not going to talk numbers on the podcast, but don't shy away. Email us directly on their website, and especially younger women that might not, be financially stable yet. We're happy to work out certain prices, and Labor Day, we're going to start giving out a discount code. So yes, to answer your question, absolutely.
Perfect. So for everybody who wants to eat Chloe directly, is private messaging Instagram or filling out the contact form on our website, ProblemSolvHer without the E. And thank you so much.
You. You're
amazing, Chloe.
So that's everything. Thank you for listening. And Dagmar, I love you. And this was a special episode for me because I loved seeing you. I loved seeing you peel back the layers of the onion. It really makes me feel good. I look like I'm swimming.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We're grateful for you.
We see you. Bye, everybody. Ciao for now.
Just a quick note before we end. This conversation is for inspiration and empowerment only. It's not medical, mental health, or legal advice. We are not doctors, therapists, or lawyers. Just women sharing real stories and personal truth. Always seek professional guidance for your unique situation.